Hello, everybody. Just making sure this thing working. I have really been having some technical issues today, and I'm a little pissed off about that. So I made a video on my cyber training with Ypifany. I don't know if you're over there or not, but it doesn't seem like the sound worked, which is crazy. What the hell is that light behind me? Oh my gosh. Sorry, move it. Yeah, it doesn't seem like the sound works. It's just terrible because it was a good live. I was going to come over here anyway to share some of that information, but I mean, I'm still pissed that something's wrong with the sound. Now, I don't know if it's on my computers because I tried it on my phone and my other computers and it still doesn't work. I don't know. So there must be something going on with that. I'll have to see what's up with that. Anyway, I was going to talk about this anyway on this channel. So if you were over there, you saw me talking and stuff, but you didn't hear anything. Okay, this is pretty much going to be the same thing. All right. It's just not going to be specific to cyber training, but that's okay. All right. So something I'm working on right now that I wanted to share with you all. Hold on, let me get rid of this bright ass screen over here. So I pull up the command prompt on my computer and I put it on this screen. So it's not so light. You see how it went dark? Because command prompt is black. It's a black screen. All right. So I'm doing some work to create a survey to provide to instructors to help them instruct students on cyber. Okay. So the issue here that we're dealing with, and it's not just here, I found out, like many school districts, okay, they have cybersecurity curricula that they want to provide to their students, and they're asking teachers there to teach it. So they're not necessarily hiring cyber professionals to teach it. They're just asking the art teacher or the history teacher or the geometry teacher or whatever to also take this curriculum and teach it to the kids. Okay. So apparently teachers are asking for help. Like, I know nothing about this. Like, how am I have the content, I have the PowerPoint slides, I have the handouts, but I don't give a shit about cyber. Like, how am I supposed to be teaching this stuff and I don't know anything about it? Okay. So they have that issue now. So what we're doing is we're going in for an after school thing with the kids. But at the same time, because the instructors or the teachers have this issue of having to teach content that they don't know about, don't necessarily care about, okay? They also want to help in helping them to be able to teach, all right, during the day. Now what they're teaching is separate from what we're doing, but it's the same, same stuff overall. Okay, so what I'm doing is what is not typically done. I'm asking questions. I want to find out, okay, instructors, teachers, what's the issue? What do you care about? Okay, because I want what we create for the instructors to be valuable. What tends to happen is that, and I know that this happens, okay, you get somebody to teach something. They know a lot about it. So they just go online and curate all this stuff. Right now, I could create a course on how to do heart surgery. Don't know nothing about it. Don't know any doctors. Really don't care how it's done because that's just not what I do. But I could create a course on it, okay? Because other people know and they share stuff on the internet. I can make some banging slides, okay? A really nice presentation, knowing nothing about it, just curating that information from other people. That's a lot of people do that. And even in schools, when people are given content to teach, they don't know nothing about that stuff. You know what they do? They go to Google and they put links up and say, okay, go here and learn that thing. Okay. Everything that comes from a person that they're teaching doesn't necessarily mean they know anything about that. Okay. And clearly, in order to give information, you don't really need to be you don't need to know that subject intimately, Now, if you're going to do some heart surgery, you need to have the background and the practice and all this other kind of stuff, because you can't Google, pull up a YouTube video on how to do heart surgery and call yourself doing it. Okay, we're not doing that. All right. However, for these teachers, we're not saying you have to be a cyber professional in order to teach this course or whatever it is. You know, it ain't got to be cyber, you know, anything, you know, like I just said, heart surgery or something, or something about the body, you know, and people have to do this. They don't give a damn. I teach art. I don't give a damn about no science, whatever, you know, that's what I do. So what I want to do, I want to find out, okay, I get it. You don't know about this. You don't necessarily even care about it. But because you want to keep your job, because you want to get paid in 2 weeks, you know, you're going to be like, okay, I'll do it. Okay, the principal or whoever told me I have to do this, I'm going to do it. Now, as we want to get as far away from that attitude as possible. So I have worked for a very long time in government. Much of the training that I was involved in was compliance. Compliance training means almost nothing when it comes to people actually learning something. Anytime you put in there a requirement, you have to go to sexual harassment training. It's in the law, it's in the regulations. We have to check the box because they're going to come here, they're going to audit us, they want to know how many people went to sexual harassment. They're going to put on some sexual harassment training, okay? And some sexual harassment may happen during the training because people ain't worried about learning about that stuff. The whole thing is about complying. Okay? That's what it's about. Whether you learn or not is you know, whatever. And that's the mistake of the compliance stuff. Okay? As far away as we can get, or as I can get, from these teachers feeling like, okay, I have to teach this course because I have to teach this course because the principal told me, or because, you know, it was assigned to me and I can't say no, you know, or I'm gonna get fired or whatever the case is. Okay. We want to try to get away from that. So in an effort to get away from that, in an effort to get away from that, and in an effort to really create something meaningful, all right, not just curate a bunch of information online and give it to people and, you know, pat myself on the back, you know, which is what a lot of trainers do. They do. A lot of training businesses, that's what they do. What I want to do is reach out to them. Okay. So I am going to be meeting with them face to face. But before I do that, I want to send out a survey to get a little, you know, preliminary information. And I'm framing it in a particular way. I'm framing it using 3 things. And now these 3 things I say are going to be used to help them care about the content, right? Care about the content and care about their role in delivering the content. Okay. It's not just vomiting up a bunch of stuff that you know, which is what a lot of training is. Okay. And I've said before, it bothers me no end. It bothers me. You know, it pisses me off a lot. Okay. When you feel like you know a whole bunch of stuff, so you just gonna vomit it out. Okay. And whatever you know, not because you've vomited all over me, you know, now I'm going to know it and I'm going to care about it and think it's special and wonderful the same way you do. Y'all know that ain't true. If you've ever been in a relationship, if you have children, if you ever had a job, if you ever, you know, went to the DMV to get something done with your car, you know, y'all know that's not true. Okay. Just because you feel in a certain way about something doesn't mean other people do. Okay. Especially if they feel like they have to do something. Okay. Now, the 3 things that I'm using to frame this are storytelling, empathy. We already talked about that. Empathy and egoism. Ego. Okay. Now let me tell you how I'm doing all those. And I'm creating questions within those 3 frames, you know, to get information, to get the instructors to share information with me that'll then go into creating this content for them so that they can effectively teach these children cyber without them needing to, or, you know, become cyber professionals, which is not necessary. Storytelling. We all like stories. Okay? That's why we watch movies and stuff. We like stories. The facts and figures are fine. This percentage of whatever did that percentage of whatever, that's good. Okay, nothing wrong with that. However, we don't sit around campfires to hear facts and figures. We want to hear stories. Okay? We want to be able, that's why we read books. Okay? We immerse ourselves into what the characters are going through so that we can get scared, so that we can feel sad and be happy and, all those emotions you go through when you look at really good movies, storytelling, right? So the questions that I'm going to ask are going to help me to create some kind of a story to help get the instructors to care about the content. Okay. Now, whether that story, one of the things that we use in the Cyber's Future program is I tell my story about being hacked. Okay. And, and that's it. I'm just telling the story. All right. I talk about how I felt about it. I talk about, what I was doing during my day. I talk about how my life changed for a minute while I was trying to get everything fixed again, how upset I was, who I was upset with, all of that stuff, right? That's a story. Okay. It's not just facts and figures. You're wrapping all that stuff in various emotions. You're wrapping it up in times a day. In the morning, this is when that happened. It was summertime. The wind was blowing outside. We like that stuff. We absolutely enjoy that stuff. So I want to know, what do you care about regarding your teaching, just in general? Okay. One of the things that we did, me and my team in my last federal job, we created this leading self course. Okay. And one of the questions that we asked the leaders, it's for executives. Okay. One of the questions that we asked was, what do you do in the first hour after you wake up? Okay. What do you do in the first hour after you wake up? Because we want to know. Okay, tell me the story of what you do. So many of them, I wake up, I put the coffee on, I get in the shower, I read, meditate for 20 minutes. We want to know, okay, what do you do? Tell us the story of what you do, how you're feeling, when you're doing that. I'm really tired, or I'm energized, and, and all of that stuff. Because we want to really be able to, so which takes me to the next one, the empathy and the relevance, right? Is to really be able to make what we're doing relevant for the person. Okay. We want to not just tell a story, but tell a relevant story, a story that matters to me. Okay. Now, and we got a lot of different things when we ask those questions, when we ask what you do in the first hour, because what I'm creating here for the instructors, I want to make it meaningful. I want to know how can what you're doing here in the cyber program and teaching these kids about cyber, how can that impact and enhance what you're doing? Okay. Even if you feel like it has, like art, I teach art. Okay. And this is technology. Like this has not, but it actually is relevant. Much of what we're doing has a lot of, and I even talk about this in one of the articles I wrote about how technology and art come hand. They're like opposite sides of the exact same coin. Okay. So there is a way that you can see how me teach. So I'm a, let's say, a geography teacher. Let's say I teach geography. How is this content actually going to enhance what I do in geography? Right. So I need to be able to ask questions, ask for examples, get information that will help me to design something where they can see, oh, this is how what I'm doing, even though I feel like, cyber has nothing to do with geography, actually it does. So when I teach it this way, this is how I'm actually enhancing what I do. And I'm making myself a better geography teacher. We really want to get the buy-in like that. Okay. And I'm not going to do that just by sitting behind a computer trying to curate a bunch of information about teaching cyber to teachers or something. I need to be able to know these people on a more empathic level. All right. I need to be able to feel what they and so that's really nothing you need to work at, right? Everybody, no matter who you are, okay, you want people to feel what you feel. Okay. Because that's the first thing we say when we feel like somebody doesn't understand. You don't understand how I feel. Because why? We feel like if you actually understood what I felt, you would see why I'm doing what I'm doing. You would see, you would see why I'm saying what I'm saying. But it's because you don't know how I feel. That's why you don't understand. That's why you're on the outside, because you don't know how I feel. All of us go through that. All of us. Okay. I don't care what setting you're in. Okay. Everybody wants other people to see what they see, to think how they think, to understand how they feel. So I was saying in the other video that has no sound, that today I was watching that documentary on Netflix. This light behind me is really getting on my nerves, child. I'm gonna have to, okay, let's see what I can do. Here we go. I was watching on Netflix the what the hell is that show called? Holy Hell. Have y'all seen Holy Hell? It's a documentary about this cult. Okay. And somebody's calling me. Hold on. Yeah. So it's a documentary about this cult called the Buddha Field. It's not called that anymore. The guy, the cult leader, he's in Hawaii, and it's called something else now, I think. I don't know. But when you look at how cults are formed, and then religious cults, okay, look at how they're formed. All these people feel like, they're in something together. They have solidarity with one another. They're all for the same thing. Football teams. If you're a football fan, tennis fan, what other kind of sports they got out there? Baseball, soccer. Okay, you guys are cults. You're in cults. Okay, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know how it feels when the Patriots lose, whether you are for the Patriots or against. You have a tribe who knows what it feels like when the Patriots lose, whether you are celebrating together or you're upset, you're crying, you're upset that they lost. Okay. You have a empathic field with people. They're not even around you. They're another state somewhere. Okay. But you're a tribe. Like you all feel the same thing. Okay. We all of us want that. All right. If I can just get a little bit of that, just a little bit of that into the design of this thing, I'm going to be golden. I'm going to be golden. Okay. So I need to be able to ask questions and stuff to really get, to empathize with these instructors. Right. And to be sure that what I'm doing is, for the students who want to become cyber professionals, it's relevant for them. But for me, I teach art, I teach geography, I'm a music teacher, what the hell am I doing in here? Why do I have this responsibility? Okay. It can be relevant for them too, but it's going to take me asking good questions, right? And empathizing with what they do on their day-to-day, what they care about right now, for me to be able to create something that's going to be relevant for them. Now, the last frame that I'm using to ask the questions and also to design the learning is egoism. We all have egos. Okay. We all want to be seen and heard and acknowledged, understood. We all want that. Okay. Now, like back to the documentary I was talking about, Holy Hell. This dude had people around him all day, every day, telling him how wonderful he was, how much their happiness depended on him, how much they loved him, how much they couldn't live without him. And So his head just, I mean, he was just, it was like there was no, I mean, it was just, you know what I'm saying? Blown up. Okay. Now your ego can get to the point to where it has a deleterious effect on you and the people around you. Think about somebody right now who just has a blown up ego. Okay. All of us know people like that. All right. But egoism can be a good thing. Okay. When it's used for good, not for evil. All right. I want to tap into that just a little bit to design this train the trainer. Okay. Because if I can get these various instructors, the art instructor, the science, the geography, the PE teacher, all of these people are now being asked to teach a cyber course that they care nothing about. Okay. If I can get all of them to see in some way that, listen, these middle and high schoolers that you're teaching, for them to be the best professionals that they could be, they need you. Okay. You are a critical component of their success and their growth. Now, we like that, don't we? We like that. We like feeling like we're needed, that something is going to fall apart if I'm not part of it. That kind of stuff just think of how you feed fire with wood and coal or whatever. I mean, that kind of shit just feeds the ego. I'm telling you. Okay. So now, okay, I know this thing gonna fall apart if I'm not there. Now, I don't want to make it, I don't want to be manipulative with this. Okay. I don't want to lie, but I do want to be able to create, to both have a conversation with them when we do meet face to face and create this questionnaire that I can get information that would help me to see where I can tap into a little bit of that to help them care. Now, this is all of this stuff is in an effort to help them care about teaching these kids this subject. Okay. Because from what I've heard so far, I don't give a damn. They can learn it or not learn it. That's not what I'm here for. Ain't nobody hired me to teach no cyber course. You know what I'm saying? And if I could say no, I would. All right. Nobody really wants to do anything because they have to. In anything that you're doing because you feel obligated or because you feel like you ain't got no choice, that stuff is just, nobody wants to do that. Who wants to do that? Seriously. So the more we can, design this thing so that the teachers who are there actually doing it don't feel like I'm obligated. They really feel like this is relevant for me. This is actually going to enhance it. It's going to teach the kids, right? The kids are learning something valuable, but at the same time, it's enhancing what I do. It's enhancing my skills as a teacher or as an instructor. When you see that for yourself, now I want them to see this for themselves, right? Which is why the design is so important. It's not just gathering a bunch of shit off of Google and putting it in PowerPoints. Okay. The design is very important because we want them to see and feel this for themselves. Okay. Now, when you do that for yourself, okay, now anytime we feel like we're making our own decision, that we like that. Okay. That means that takes the heavy lifting off the designer, because if you feel like you're making this choice on your own, okay, then I'm good. You're doing it on your own, which is where we want everybody to get. So even the children, even the kids, at some point, we don't want the kids to feel like, I'm doing this stuff because I have to. or to graduate or to be able to, I don't know, do whatever. We want them to want to do these things. Okay. Think of things that you do that you don't want to do. You do them because you have to. And then think of things that you would do even if nobody asked you. You do it just because you love doing it. You know, we want to fill our lives with as many things that we just want to do as possible. We have enough obligatory stuff. There's enough that we do on a day-to-day basis where we're doing it because we feel we have to, and we have no choice. No choice. The more we can give over decision-making power to both the students and the teachers, that's the better off everybody will be, especially if it's going to result in something good, which it can, and it absolutely will, if it's designed the right way. Okay. Now, I tell people, and the more people I talk to, the more we'll hear it, that when it comes to designing learning, okay, whether it's something formal or informal, when it comes to that, the only thing you're doing, what you're doing, is you are adding constraints and limits into what's already going on in reality. Think about it like you have a blank sheet of paper, okay? When you design something, it's like you're drawing a maze, like you're putting a line here, you're putting a line there, one here. Now the person is up here. They want to get to the bottom. Right now it's just a blank sheet. What you're doing is you're creating constraints. You're creating an objective here. You're putting an activity there. You're doing a little bit of lecture over here. So you want them to get from here to here, but you're doing it in a more controlled and goal-oriented way, okay, than if they didn't have those constraints. The mistake we make, though, when we design training is instead of consulting the person that's trying to get from here to here, into actually what we know they want to get from here to here, but what's the purpose? What do they want to accomplish? How do they want to feel about it? We don't ask those questions. We just go in with what we know, how we feel, what we think they need to know, and we make the constraints, okay, or design the training, okay. And if you look at statistics right now about what they say about what people actually learn and use after a training, they're abysmally low, okay? Because you feel like during the whole thing, you're obligated. Somebody's telling you to do something. You barely have any decision-making power at all in that training design, almost none. They tell you what you need to listen to. They tell you what you need to research. They tell you when to go to the bathroom. They tell you how many questions you can ask. They tell you, I was in this training, 30-day training, okay? The best part of it was when we were out the training. We went out on our own in my own group. That's when I really learned the most. I made the most connections. It wasn't when I was in front of the instructor. Okay. Because what it turns out being the way that instruction happens today in a lot of places, even adult learning. Okay. It shouldn't happen like that with kids either. But the way that it happens is that instead of me listening to you, you're the expert. Nobody's taking that away. Okay. You're the expert. You've done the training. You've been through the experiences. You've done all that. Nobody's taking that away. However, when you get up in front of me, like you know it all, even though you say, oh, I don't know it all, you act like you do. Okay. You act like you do. And when that happens, what I do in response is instead of listening to learn, instead of listening to investigate how what you're saying can inform or enhance or debunk or support something that I already have in my mind, instead of doing that, what I'm doing is I'm listening to see where you're right or wrong. Okay. And I saw this a lot in that 30-day training. You have a lot of experts, a lot of people with different experiences around the table. Okay. But because you're up there, like you're the one with the most experience in the whole room and everybody needs to stop and listen to you, what people are actually doing, they're trying to see where you're wrong. I didn't hear it like that. That don't sound right to me. It's about critiquing you up there so that they can show, you know what, actually, I know more than you. Now it's a contest because you're getting up there with an attitude like you in the audience, you're younger than me. You don't have as much experience as I do. There's nothing I can learn from you. Okay. There's nothing I can learn from you. The only learning that can happen in this room is you learning from me. People get that. That's like a vibe, I mean, you don't try to give that off, but that's what you're giving off. That's what you're giving off. And you know how you're giving that off? Because people are going to challenge what you say instead of listening to you and actually using what you're saying to enhance their learning. They're going to look for ways to say you're wrong. They're going to look for ways to show you that you're wrong. Okay. To tell you that what you're telling me right now ain't right. Now that puts pressure on you to always be right. It's a whole cycle that's unnecessary. And it's unnecessary because you just got to go in there with the right attitude. The right attitude is about doing the work that you need to do beforehand to help what you're doing and saying. Help these people care about it. Okay. And they're going to care about it when they feel it's relevant, when they feel like they are actually a critical part of the whole process. Okay. And do it in a storytelling. Storytelling works every time. Every time. All right. I know the volume better have worked on this damn thing or I'm not going to be happy. Okay. Because it didn't work on the last one. All right. So thank y'all for hanging out. That is all I have today. And as I create these questions, as I do these various things in those 3 frames, okay, I'm going to share some of that, not all of it. Okay. I'm going to share some of the things that I come up with and show you how these framings are going to be used to actually design, well, not just design the learning, but design how we're going to evaluate it. Okay. Design how we're going to know that what we are designing is actually helping the person get from here to here in a way that's meaningful to them personally and meaningful to the whatever organization they're working for. Okay. All right. That's all I have. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.